Call the meeting to order. By my watch, it's 12 o'clock, high noon. We're at the City Council Chambers, 10 West State Street. This is a published agenda for the City Council meeting, a special public hearing for the budget. Notice to the public, the mayor and City Council members welcome comment and public discussion from people of any of the agenda items. You're required to step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and you're asked to limit your remarks to 3 minutes so that others may be given the opportunity to speak as well. All speakers should speak clearly and direct their comments to the mayor and city council and not to any specific council person. It's the discretion of the mayor and the council to respond to specific questions and comments or to have staff respond during the meeting. We've been called to order, and now those who are able, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Hoop.
Here.
Lamer.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Weirin.
Here.
Cahill.
Here.
Gowdy.
Here.
On to, we have a quorum on to resolutions. Madam Clerk, please read the first.
We have a resolution with a public hearing adopting the amended budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2018.
Has the clerk received any written comments?
Not regarding the amended budget.
I'm sorry. And first, I should have declared that the public hearing is now open. This would be the time for public comments.
Reed Risketall, 1412 South 5th Street. It appears that all of my appeals have gone for naught. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with you folks, and hopefully we can continue to do so. I sincerely hope that you don't surreptitiously reach into my pocket for additional taxes over time. This particular one still is a reprehensible way for this council to have worked.
We're not on that item.
I'm sorry that this has happened. If you have the opportunity to be able to change this before you actually make the vote, I'd appreciate that $582,000 to be backed out for that E911 commission dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Remind them this is for the amending budget.
Oh, yes, certainly. I should note for the record, as the agenda indicates, that this is for the fiscal year 2018 budget and involves the amendment memo for that year. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to speak to that topic that's on the agenda?
Good afternoon. I am Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive, and I sent this to Sherry because I haven't been feeling well today, but I will go ahead and read what I sent to Sherry. It was sent late, so you probably didn't come through yet. I would like to share my concerns with Mayor and City Council. During the past few months, I've gone from being a complacent, slightly informed citizen to digging into the goals, budgetary, and CIP projects for our city. The spark that led me to this research was while working on a long-term project designed to positively impact Marshalltown and our region, we began seeing an inconsistency in communication, favoritism towards pet projects, lack of integrity, and accounting practices that could be deemed as playing a shell game. As you are aware, I did run for City Council Ward 2. Although I was not successful in this bid, I feel that there's an awareness rising with our private citizens in demanding accountability, communication, and fiscal responsibility. Before I discuss these specific areas, I want to begin with, I do support the goals that have been established for Marshalltown. I also recognize that the council persons have an overwhelming amount of data to review in order to make financial decisions to guide our city into the future. In addressing accountability and communication, Please answer the questions that have been directly posed on budget and CIP concerns without burying an answer in the midst of what I would call political rhetoric and overwhelming charts that can be difficult to follow. When this happens, it just appears that someone is trying to hide something. This does bring up the issue of Resolution 2018-028. Our police and fire services are critical for our city and our county, and the creation of the E911 Commission makes sense for further coordination of services. However, upon researching the activities of the Commission and the money the City of Marshalltown has collected for 9/11 employee wages and benefits, this money should now be backed out of the future budget and our general fund lowered accordingly. It appears that the new 9/11 Commission will also start taxing our citizens for these services. If we keep our tax rate at the same rate as we did last year, it simply means the City of Marshalltown will continue to collect the dollars that were previously allocated for our share of 9/11 expenses. In essence, we will be double taxed by the Commission and by the city. Please work in a spirit of cooperation with other members of the Commission. I would also like to address fiscal responsibility. After digging into reports, including state auditor reports, it appears that our debt obligation has been increasing substantially. In 2006, this amounted to over $28 million. In 2015, it was $37 million. 2017, it was about $45 million. This is something that's not clearly explained or laid out for the citizens of Marshalltown. I do realize we have about $30 million pledged as collateral, but this is still leaving about a $15 million deficit. Many feel that I've talked to that our debt load is moving in the wrong direction. I personally like the looks of the public art. I like the trails. However, the problem is we're building a facade that looks good, it looks great, but it's not reducing our debt load, and it's not focusing on what was deemed earlier as essential services. I personally like that term. If we don't focus on the foundation of our city, the facade will eventually collapse. We must focus on streets, gutters, community safety, etc., before we fund another special interest project. We have hired consultants to create plans to follow. We need to follow these plans. I will bring up one specific example. It's the Park and Rec Master Plan in regard to the skateboard park. This project was not on CIP plans during last year's budget cycle or following cycles. I've looked them all up. As per the master plan that was approved last fall, the consultants recommend adding 2 features, not 8, and this project was not listed as a teen priority. The issues of accessibility, maintenance, and safety were priorities to be addressed for our parks first, as deemed by public input. So the question I have, why aren't we following the plan that we as a city paid $57,000 for? In closing, the credit card has come due, and we need to pay our debt down. We need to tighten our belts. We need to apply the plumb line to all expenditures through budget and CIP. Do the projects spending benefit a majority of everyone residing in the zip code 50158? Or does it pertain to just to special interest groups? If it is special interest groups, let's put a project on hold until we, as a city, can partner with all citizens groups, all businesses, and let us jointly come up with cost-effective, creative solutions. This will promote community pride and ownership, and it will allow us to have those nice-to-haves while we budget for and fund the essential need-to-haves. I would like to thank you for letting me take a little extra than 3 minutes.
It was about 6, but I'll
Thank
try to
you.
limit the rest to 3. I hate to interrupt, but when I make an argument to the Iowa Supreme Court, they have a little red light that comes on, and you know you have to quit talking. Maybe we need to get one of those lights. Anyone else?
If Diana has anything to offer, but otherwise I don't think there's any more to.
Are there any council comments? Okay, we'll declare that the public hearing is closed at 12 minutes after noon.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I would move that we approve a resolution 2018-028 027, adopting the amended budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion? Should I ask for public comment?
Coming through the public hearing.
Hearing none, let's call the roll.
Hoop,
Yes.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Goudy.
Yes.
Carried. Madam Clerk, would you read the next resolution?
Time for public hearing, resolution adopting the budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2019, and certifying the tax levy.
I'll declare that public hearing open now at 12:12 p.m. Any written comments received by the clerk?
Yes, Your Honor, I've received several, and I've made copies of them to the council and provided them to the media. 3 comments for the budget, and with the one that Lee Bowder read earlier, and then 9 against.
Thank you. Any public comments on this resolution? Any council comments?
Your Honor, I do have a comment. Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to thank the city staff for working on the budget and preparing, discussing, rationalizing, and changing the information for the council. I take my role very seriously and do not take it lightly. We have had some questions from the public concerning the process we are using. I will state that I'm comfortable with the process that we have taken. In reviewing and voting on the budget, I feel the councilors are all doing their jobs in passing the budget. There's been talk of lack of transparency and found money. Maybe we should have returned the E911 funds to the public in terms of some tax reductions, but then we would have had to turn around and tax and raise the taxes to meet the critical necessary services for our community. We could have returned a few dollars to all, or we can send our police officers out with body cameras. We can fix the facade of the Carnegie building so bricks don't fall on anyone. We can fill the potholes in the city. We're taking advantage of an opportunity to keep our taxes at the same rate as the past 3 years and continue with these essential city services. We have thoughtfully studied and worked the budget. We're doing our jobs in passing the budget today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilor comment? Mr. Martin?
Your Honor, I'd just like to add a little bit of history to the budgeting process for the city. Back approximately 8 or 9 years ago, when the stock market was around 6,000 and we were in a recession, the counselors at that time took adequate due diligence and prepared for a downturn in the economy, which did happen. Consequently, city projects were left undone. Streets, storm sewers, all of that type of infrastructure was put off, and rightly so. As a measure of the economy, that 6,000 Dow Jones Industrial Average has gone to about 24,000. That's not to say that we're flush with money, because we are not. We need to exercise caution in all we do, and planning and input from the public is important. I also would like to add, this is a base for all citizens, that we do maintain and take quite pride in maintaining our bond rating, which is AA2, very high, and that our frequent audits, annual audits, especially the last one completed for FY17, leave us with a clean bill of health on that. However, we must always exercise due diligence in whatever we do, and I'm conscious of that. And I accept comments from the public, but I too am comfortable with where we are at this time. We're doing, I think, the best possible.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Mr. Lamer?
I just want to make a couple comments. The information that was just provided by one of our citizens said that we'd increased our bond amounts from 28 million to 45 million, and that is correct. But you have to remember, 17 million of that, which is the difference, was voted on by the public, and the public's told us to do that so we could have a new police and fire. So you have to remember that it's gone up, but you guys gave us permission to do that. We asked for permission, and you did that. Second of all, I spent all morning making notes and talking to Diane because I thought maybe there was something we could do. But I'm comfortable with where we're at now. I'm comfortable with the way we handled the lost sales tax and applied that to our debt service so that we wouldn't have to do what, if you guys will remember, when you voted on the 17 million for the police and fire, we told you your taxes are going to go up $1.40 per thousand to cover that debt. Well, using the lost funds the way we used them and applied them against the debt, our debt service only did not have to go up $1.40. Matter of fact, we held it almost to where it was the year before because we were able to buy that debt down. And I think that just goes to show that we're trying to do what you want us to do. If you will remember, a year ago, we had a budget that was in the red, and we waited until after the vote on the lost funds before we filled that number because, and I would not vote for that budget because I don't like a budget that's in the red. And so we took that extra lost money to offset that number where we were in the hole. Well, those two numbers added together ended up being almost exactly what the 911 commission was costing us. So rather than raising rates, we just offset those two numbers, keeping your tax rate down and not having to raise it and balancing our budget and still having all that lost money now to use for capital projects in the future. So I think we did what we wanted to do, and I think we were very conscious of what we were doing, and I support the way we went about this, Mr. Mayor. And I commend the staff for what it took to put this all together. It's not an easy job.
Thank you, Mr. Lamer. Any other comments? I'll declare the public hearing is closed at 12:19 p.m. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Lamer,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Has carried, and would Madam Clerk please read the third and final resolution? Actually, I probably need to declare the public, read it first, then I'll declare the public.
Public
meeting.
hearing and resolution adopting the 5-year capital improvement program for 2018-2022.
And on that resolution, I do declare the public hearing is open. So we are open for comments from the public. Actually, before calling for that, were there any written comments received by the clerk on this specific resolution?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Time for public comment, if any.
Reed Riskadal, 1412 South Fifth Street. The only concern I have, and I appreciate the 5-year plan, and it looks very good. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed the presentation on the Veterans Coliseum. It appears to be quite creative and apparently a pretty good use of space. The only concern I have in that particular area is that the anticipated use of TIF. TIF is made, in my opinion, for the improvement of the infrastructure in the areas that are being TIFed. I believe it probably is an improvement as far as that building concerns, but as far as the balance of the community, we're going to be able to continue to use that building. In my opinion, it's an improper way to use TIF. I would appeal to you folks to try and find other ways for us to be able to finance this particular project. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any council comment? I'll declare the public hearing closed at 12:22 p.m. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So move, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion from the council? Please call the roll.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Gowdy,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Lamer.
Yes.
It is carried. Okay, that is the last thing on our agenda. I declare us adjourned at 12:23 p.m.